everyone. Welcome to Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode, we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. I am one of your co-hosts, Ryan Doze, and we are at the end of summer now. So the hot Thor summer has been raging, and some of you might think that Fantastic Four just completely took over this entire podcast, but I can assure you, there's Thor content coming, and there's Thor aplenty. And one thing before we jump in here, Eric is here, and we've got a fantastic Thor versus Galactus episode planned. Eric, I mean, what was it? How many issues did you read for the prep for this episode?
Oh my gosh. I think it was like 18 issues. I definitely did my homework, and I could have wrote maybe a small dissertation on it, but I did take some notes. Yeah. Maybe
that's where all this is leading. Like, if you ever need a doctorate, Eric, you ever need to go back to school, this would be like, hey, we need you to write a really big paper about something. He's like, I think I've got some ideas. Eric did a ton of prep for this, but originally we had recorded this episode before Fantastic Four First Steps came out. And you might be thinking to yourself, that feels like an eternity ago, guys. That's like a month ago. In Marvel time, that's practically, an eon has passed since then. What happened, though, was my technical prowess was not on full display, and the first half of that conversation is literally unable to be listened to. Eric and I's audio was stacked on top of each other. I worked at it for a little while, and I was like, okay, I can do this. I can it's like a Rubik's cube. I can figure out the problem. But then I got frustrated with it, and I was like, you know what? Screw this. And the content of the conversation was so good that I didn't want Eric's hard work to go unnoticed, and I didn't want you, the listener, to not hear this concept that we want to really tease out, and that is the history of Thor versus Galactus. We saw Galactus hit the silver screen properly this summer in Fantastic Four First Steps, and we know Thor's coming back for Doomsday. Hemsworth is going to put on the cape and pick up the hammer one more time. So this is a good time for us to talk about the history that these two characters have had. Eric, you did the research for this. Our first conversation is lost to the ether. Malekith and the Dark Elves got a hold of it, and we're just not going to talk. After this conversation, we're not going to talk about it anymore. I
was going to say, I'm not going to try to remember what jokes I made, because we're going to start fresh, And I believe that we can make lightning strike twice, because we got the God of Thunder on our side, so it's going to work out.
Fresh material. But Eric, this Thor versus Galactus conversation, could you just maybe on ramp us into this conversation of how these two godlike beings have interacted many times? When you were doing the prep for this, what did it strike you in any certain way, their conflict throughout the ages? And then we'll kind of rewind and go back to the start.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to start with the 30,000 foot view, we're going to be talking about 5 really noteworthy encounters of Thor and Galactus, and it's covering 51 years of comics. And in that time, it becomes very obvious that Thor is getting more powerful and Galactus is being nerfed a little bit over time, because in the first meeting, it goes from Thor is basically a gnat, and he's witnessing this giant fight going on. And by the end, the Asgardians start to kick more and more ass. And then we get a future fight. And then we get the Donny Cates epic opening of his run that obviously is very heavily featuring Galactus there. So we see Thor getting more and more of an upper hand with Galactus over time. But, it's not just because of power scaling. It's really because of the story elements that are involved, the complexity, and we'll get into what those different beats are that make this make sense in a bigger sort of arc over time.
Awesome. But here, I just wanted to start off kind of narratively where these characters begin. So we know that Thor makes his first appearance in Journey into Mystery number 83, all the way back in the 60s, the beginning of this Silver Age resurgence for comic book superheroes. And the boom really started with the Fantastic Four. It started with Spider-Man. It started with the Hulk. And at a certain point, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby wanted to create a superhero that was a godlike character. And they felt that the Greek pantheon's been kind of played out. People might not know the Egyptian pantheon as much. But then, as Stan Lee would tell you, he was doing some research and he stumbled upon this character, Thor, the god of thunder in Norse mythology. And the seed of that idea blossomed into the character that we got throughout most of those early Journey into Mystery days. He's stumbling around, he's finding his power, he's doing different things that, modern readers would be like, what? Thor used to do that? Like, yeah, he used to time travel. And it just was a thing. We didn't question it. But Thor gets his genesis in the idea that they wanted a godlike character. Now, fast forward to the Fantastic Four book in the late, in the numbering of Fantastic Four in the late 40s, in Fantastic Four number 48. It's the beginning of a storyline called the Galactus trilogy. And within the Galactus trilogy, we see Galactus's first interaction with humanity through his interactions with the Fantastic Four alongside the Silver Surfer. Now, Galactus is a similar idea, but done differently. This villain that they wanted to do that wasn't just a gangster, it wasn't just a masked madman, it wasn't a would-be world conqueror, like a Doctor Doom. They wanted an entity, a godlike figure that almost was biblical in proportions. And as Jack Kirby has said it, they wanted a character that was larger, bigger scope. And he went to the pages of the Bible and came out with Galactus. Now, in a former life, I read a ton of the Bible, Eric, and I'll be honest, I never came away with anything remotely similar to Galactus.
Oh, you missed that one page. Yeah,
I did. One little excerpt that would have put all of it together. But Jack came out with Galactus, and these characters existed for a hot minute before they interact. And I would love for Eric to kind of set the stage for Thor and Galactus's first interaction.
Yeah, so this is going to be in the pages of Thor in issues 60, 61, and 62. And really what's happening here is Thor sees a spaceship on a roof and he goes to investigate. It turns out that it's our friend Tana Nile, the Rigellan. So we've seen her before, but she's not here to take over the Earth this time. She actually needs help. So she's looking to have Thor come and help them with something that's going on in this black galaxy that they need some help with. So on the way there, they're in this ship and they run across some Taurians, which are from a planet that Galactus killed. So but it's really interesting because at this point, Thor doesn't even know what a Galactus looks like. Because he's thinking, is this Galactus? And they're like, no, that's just like some strong dude. You don't even want to know what the real Galactus looks like. They enter a field of space debris and they're sort of still on their travels. We cut to Galactus and he is studying the cosmos with his Visisphere. And I love the sphere. Late 60s, early 70s. Everything is hyphenated, like Visisphere, Vita Liquid, like Restore
Vita Liquid gets me
all these different things, right? So it's like it's so sci-fi and it's just so campy. We see that oh shit, something's attacking Galactus, and he gets in his flying space cube to go investigate. So he's like jetsoning over there in his cube, and we turn the page and we see this frickin' Monty Python black and white photocopy collage thing.
Perfect description.
And it's Ego. It's a wild page turn, listener, when you first see that and it's like, what is that? What is that?
I love Jack's photocopy collages. I just imagine that guy showing up to the art studio
and they're like, at the time, they're like, it's cutting edge technology. Like, this is a new system.
Yeah.
So they see, let's see, they are flying through a swarm of ships that are leaving the Black Galaxy, and they're going against the flow. This one other ship votes to like turn around and like, hey, let's follow that ship. They must know something that we don't. And as Ego, who is the entity that was in the Black Galaxy, Ego and Galactus are fighting each other, and the commotion destroys the ship that Thor is on. So luckily that other ship had turned around, because they actually end up getting on that ship. So that's issue 160 in a nutshell. We zip along to 161. Thor wakes up in the Medi chamber of Vita Liquid. Again, the ship is being bombarded by planetoids. The recorder is there, and he's going to, he says, perma circuits activated for maximum recording. I love the recorder so much.
Yeah.
Goes, all that transpires shall be impressed upon my electric brain. But son of Odin, have a care. Let me not record your death. Epic dialogue from recorder.
He's a Star Trek original series robot. Yeah, that's what he is.
He's a fan favorite. I'm hoping he's going to show up in this the Mortal Thor run, because
he is such a cool character. Like, he needs to come back properly.
Thor strikes Galactus for the first time, and Galactus says, for the first time in a millennium, my limbs have tasted pain. So he lands a blow, but that's about all Thor does. So Galactus actually chucks Thor at Ego. Ego slows his descent, and then he stops on the surface. Thor builds a device on Ego's surface powered by Mjolnir that causes Galactus to retreat. So this is sort of, the day is saved. They scared Galactus away. They made it not worth his while, but they didn't really beat Galactus at this point.
It's more like Galactus chose not to continue the fight.
He's like, this isn't worth it. Plus that planet has a face on it, and that seems a little like harder to eat than other planets.
And that guy is covered in Vital Liquid, and I don't want to know how it happened.
I don't want to know. So they resolve to, basically, it ain't over yet, because Torger, the counselor to Odin, says that this is an ever-present danger until they kind of resolve this or get to the bottom of it. So they spy on Galactus, and they see, and this is again how some of the exposition is revealing Galactus's backstory in the Thor comic. They see him feasting on other planets. They view further back in time, and they see galaxies battling, and then a world sort of trying to use Galactus as a weapon against another world, and it backfires because he defeats them both. So they don't give you the full origin story just yet, but they're starting to peel back the layers of the onion, which is really cool, because this shows that this is now woven into a longer arc, and it's not just, he's not the villain of the week. He's going to be around for a while. They're taking their time. It's a slow burn.
Yeah. Well, and even to tie it back to one of Jack Kirby's foundational thoughts with Galactus was that he would not be this recurring, every 4 issues of Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom shows up in some way, or, he wasn't the Green Goblin or Dr. Octopus. He wasn't just constantly, or Loki. He wasn't Loki. He was a significant threat that had shown up once, and he wasn't going to show up again. So really, we didn't know a lot about him. We just knew a lot more about what he imposed upon others. His backstory it was barely hinted at this point.
Yeah, it was a big mystery, and so that kind of adds to the allure. I'm thinking similarly with like Wolverine, right? When he's first introduced, you don't get the full X origin for years and years, right? So
exactly.
It makes it a lot juicier to kind of dig into later on.
Wolverine's a good comp, Eric, because similar to Wolverine, there's so many different versions of his origin. There's so many different layers to his origin. Mm-hmm. I feel like Galactus's origin can always be reassessed and tweaked, because he is the kind of being that has endless potential for different versions of his backstory.
And because it's complicated as hell. And so it's real easy to like drop something in there and no one's going to call you on it because it's like, well, maybe that happened. It's pretty complex.
Same thing with Wolverine. It's like, did that happen? I'm sure, maybe. It doesn't matter. Like,
we get then fast forward just a few issues later into 168 and 169. This is when we're going to learn the actual origin of Galactus. So Thor's punishment for being overtaken by warrior madness.
Oh.
He's sent on no, seriously. Odin goes, warrior madness, the most forbidden malady of all. I can just hear that in like Odin's voice. You're like, what a shame he's overtaken by it. It's a forbidden malady. So he's sent out. And the reason he had warrior madness was because Warlock, or him at the time, had kidnapped Sif.
Yeah.
And that drove Thor mad. And so could you blame the guy for having a little warrior madness?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's told he has to board the Odin ship. And that goes out into space. It stops suddenly when Galactus is found, and Thor tries to strike, but there's a force field. Galactus is not going to be taking shit from Thor at this point. He is so powerful. Yeah. He sprays Thor with a Visi cloud. Thor's always going to be covered in something. And he passes out from the Visi cloud. Galactus lifts the Visi haze later on, as long as Thor promises not to fight him. And Galactus gives him the entire origin story.
Yeah.
Gallon of Ta. And as soon as we get the reveal of the origin, Odin pops in and says, all right, that's all I needed, and takes Thor out of the picture. So again, Odin at this time is so annoying because he just intervenes, but it's just like a real quick, and he leaves, and that's the end of it.
He's such a putz about it. Like, well, now that exposition has been delivered effectively, let's move on to something else.
Let's move on. I don't need to be there anymore.
At this point for Galactus, being the Devourer of Worlds is less about actually devouring the world, and it's more about branding opportunities with the Visi Cloud and the Visi Haze.
You can sell all these. Yeah, these are all going to be in the gift shop.
All of his, the gift shop, all of his products sound like they're, as seen on TV, things that would be on like midnight. And he's like, calling a 1-800-GALACTUS to get yours today. 3 easy installments.
For your Visi Cloud,
so up until this point, Eric, we've gotten Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's version of Galactus and Thor. From their interaction at this time, what impressions are you getting from them being pitted against each other?
It's that the incredible differences in power level at this point. Galactus is basically God. He's basically, I don't know if this was before the Celestials, but he basically can just make force fields. He can just basically snap his fingers and make things happen. He does use a little bit of tech, so he's not like magic per se. He does use, a world devouring machine, and he has a spaceship. And so he's not just this, he's actually a little bit more human in this, because for a lot of it he's a little bit smaller in scale. He's still about 30 feet tall, but he's not the size of a planet for like the whole time.
Yeah, I love the addition there of he's relying heavily on outside tech, because I mean even in the first Galactus trilogy, the FF defeat him by finding a weapon on his ship that can defeat him. It's not like they just overpower him somehow. No, there's a MacGuffin that Reed, gets, because Johnny flies to the spaceship, gets the ultimate nullifier, and brings it back. Mm-hmm. It's heavily like tech, space explorer kind of not conqueror, but devourer, going from world to world at this point. More of like a giant supervillain as opposed to a like fundamental entity that like he would become, especially in these like conflicts we're going to talk about in just a bit.
He's almost like a gigantic purple Doctor Doom, where it's like a little bit of magic, but and a little bit of tech, right? It's neither one or the other completely, but he's a big purple boy, you know? He's like
I was going to be so happy you compared him to Doom. So I know we're about to do a big jump. I'm trying to find. You were saying were the Celestials
before or after? Yeah.
Established at this point. The Celestials, at the time that Thor 169 is released, the Celestials are still like 5 years away.
Okay.
So he is truly the biggest thing in the Marvel Universe at this point, followed very closely second by Ego. And one thing I love about the issues, the 160 through 162 issues, is you get a lot of big, like, kind of big art where Jack can kind of play with these two cosmic behemoths going at each other. And I love the covers of those issues because they provide a proper sense of scope. And Thor even is like dwarfed in the middle of that. And I don't know, I love issues where Thor is actually the small guy, because it makes a character who really shouldn't be an underdog in any fight he's in. It gives the perception that he is an underdog at some point, which is kind of refreshing when you see him really tackle most challenges fairly easily, unless obviously we have to find ways to put Thor on the other, on the opposite side of villains that can actually go up against him. But most of the time, he's pretty up to the task of defeating his villains.
Yeah. It's not very often that he's really sort of like on the back foot, sort of like being overwhelmed. It's usually a pretty close match in a fight. And so seeing him and using Thor, because if you know Thor, then at this time, that's a great reference point to be like, right. How much stronger is Galactus? Way stronger, because it's not even close,
Yeah. It takes Galactus running away for Thor to feel good about it. Speaking of like running into the future, there's a few different interactions that Thor and Galactus have throughout their history, but we're actually going to jump all the way forward to Matt Fraction's approach to Thor. So we're jumping decades into the future, and I'm sure there's an eagle-eyed listener who was like, but they faced off in the DeFalco run or in the Jurgens run. It was like, hey, I believe you. Listen, I believe you. I trust you. But just so you know, we're fast forwarding to this Fraction run where, man, things get weird. Things get kind of odd. So, Eric, maybe walk us through Fraction's approach to this Thor versus Galactus battle.
Yeah, well, and it's a whole new era, right? This is decades in the future, and but in the Marvel continuity, it doesn't even have to be that much further in the future. We have Matt Fraction's run starts with inside the World Tree. There's this all seed. There's this seed in there that people have mixed ideas of what this is for or what it's going to do. The Silver Surfer says that it could sate Galactus's hunger forever. And maybe if he just ate that, he'd be full and he'd be fine and we'd never have to eat again. Odin is like, yeah, I think you've been misled because the seed is actually going to restart the cosmos one day, including making a new Galactus. And he knows this, and that's why he wants to come destroy it. So it's a little bit of like this all seed is the MacGuffin here. It's this just mysterious object of massive power that they're sort of like bickering over. And the Asgardians suit up in their space armor and fly towards Galactus. They're like, you're not taking this, the all seed from the tree. We might need that. It's probably important. So it's probably important. Thor and Sif fight the Surfer and a bunch of cosmic demons that Galactus creates to fight them. And really, this is because Galactus is still so overpowered at this point that Thor and Sif can't really take him on, so they need these basically henchmen demon things that he creates, and something for them to punch, because the real meat of this battle is Odin and Galactus having an omnipotent mind fight where they're sort of glaring at each other, like trying to just will each other because because they're trying to get into each other's heads and like force each other to break or force each other to stop. And so it's very sort of like heady and out there. But it's very,
all I'm visualizing is like anytime they in a comic they show Professor X and Magneto fighting, or like at the beginning of the animated cartoon where it's just like these pulsing like waves out from their heads.
You got the in animation. How cool can you make it? We're like, well, he'll put his hand to his temple really like aggressively because it's all happening in the mind. So you're like, how do you show that intensity? Thor does strike Galactus again, which temporarily distracts him from the mind fight. But Thor is nowhere near, whooping up on Galactus at this point. This is really Odin's territory. So Odin is going to headbutt Galactus. They shatter each other's helmets and they fall to Earth. Odin actually enters the Odin sleep. And Loki takes the Galactus seed back into a space-time rift where it came from to kind of take it off the board. So it's like, hey, what if just nobody had this and I'm going to put the toy away and you'll stop fighting that way.
Selfless Loki, doing what's best for everybody.
Odin summons the Destroyer armor. I think he's still in the Odin sleep, but he's using the armor. His consciousness is now in the armor, so he's piloting
projecting it.
The armor calls Mjolnir to its hand. Galactus and the Silver Surfer, they don't sense the seed on Earth anymore. And so they're like, yeah, well, there's nothing for us now to go after. Plus that armor looks pretty intense. So we're going to peace out. Galactus does there's a character, Pastor Mike, in this part of the run. And he becomes a new Herald of Galactus. So Galactus leaves Surfer on Earth and tethers him to the Earth. And this Pastor Mike becomes the new herald, and he becomes, I don't speak Latin, so he becomes the praetor, which means beyond or past, as in praetor legem, outside the law, like outside or beyond. And this little gold guy, he's going to show up later on. He's a little gold man. He's like this tiny little gold man. He's going to show up later on in the Donny Cates run because Donny Cates is thorough. And Donny Cates didn't forget that this guy exists in like one page of one book somewhere. So
comic book writers are such nerds.
He has all the Heralds of Galactus come together later on. And you better believe that Pastor Mike was there as the praetor.
What I love about this, the Fraction approach to this fight, is he kind of puts all the pieces on the board. Whereas like previously, I feel like we got like Thor fighting against Galactus with like people watching. And then there's instances where Thor fights the Surfer, people are watching. But this feels like a big culminating fight. And you're right, like Thor is still undermatched, but the next two conflicts we're going to see, Thor does get the upper hand on Galactus. So Galactus is like, his winning streak is about to be cut a little short. Eric, is there anything else about Fraction's approach to this conflict you want to hit on before we head on to Jason Aaron's approach?
Not really, just that, this is modern comics and Galactus is still this overpowered threat. He's still got sort of that clout that comes with it. And I think what happens over time is when you've got the biggest target on your back, every creator wants to take a shot at you, because if you're the baddest guy in the jailhouse yard or whatever, like everybody wants to take a swing at you to prove how tough they are. And we start to see that in the 2000s, where I think Galactus starts to get nerfed a lot, because everybody starts lifting Mjolnir in Thor comics, everybody starts taking down Galactus, and he just becomes a punching bag, which I think a lot of true Galactus fans are like, wait, like that shouldn't happen. Like you're just trying to get your favorite character a moment of glory, but like if you think about it, that shouldn't be possible. But our next creator, Jason Aaron, finds a way to do it where it still makes a lot of continuity sense, because he takes us to the far future where continuity nerds like myself have very few gripes, because this could be so far in the future where anything could have happened in between now and then, right? So I have a lot less qualms with like, wait, he shouldn't be able to do that.
We're not even in the future of like Marvel's 2099 stories. we're beyond that. We're to what Jason calls the last days of Midgard.
Yeah.
Where this is, Eric and I have talked about this a few times, not just on the ethereal episode that never happened. We love this design for Galactus is so good, and it allowed Esad Ribic to just go full atmospheric with Galactus, and this was the most of these issues, Eric. This was the most impersonal Galactus felt. This was the most like almost cosmic that he felt, but cosmic in the way of not like, oh, he's from space. Cosmic in the way that he is not emotionally attached to what he's doing. Like,
he almost seems like a mountain or a part of the sky or a factory off in the distance. He doesn't feel like a man. He doesn't feel like a person. Yeah.
Yeah. He's not just like you said so eloquently, he's not just a large purple boy at this point. he is an impersonal entity that is more like the smokestacks of a factory as opposed to a giant space god. So Eric, tell us what happens in this conflict with Thor and Galactus and Jason Aaron's run.
So it's old man Thor in the future with his granddaughters, and they're on Earth, and Thor is trying to, sort of reminisce about like, oh, this planet used to be such a beautiful shade of blue. Like, I wonder if we could sort of restart life here and get it going again. And the granddaughters are like, why would you want to save this Earth? It basically sucks. Galactus shows up in the sky looking metal as hell. Again, like the artwork is fantastic. Frigg says, just let him eat the planet. It'll finally help you move on. You're not going to be attached to this dust ball that used to be Earth. Thor sends his granddaughters away using a portal and uses Mjolnir to open it. So now Mjolnir's gone too. And Thor's like, hey, I wasn't going to try to fight Galactus to beat him. I was going to fight him so I could die defending Midgard. And like, this is how I'm going to go. Thor and Galactus have a little bit of a dialogue saying basically the same kind of a thing of why would you want to consume such a dead world? This is just like a husk at this point.
Yeah.
He asks Thor, hey, same question. Why would you want to save such a dead world? And it's like, oh, well, Galactus's reason is this was kind of the world that defied him so many times. It's the one that got away.
Yeah.
And
it didn't start out personal, but it became personal.
It became personal. And this is where true Galactus fans might take issue with Jason Aaron, because Galactus takes some jabs here where he makes it sound like he's going to actually enjoy this. And this is not just about feeding and sustenance. He has it out for Earth. So
Galactus is kind of a foodie at this point. Where he's like, I'm going to enjoy this actually.
Let's see. Galactus blasts Thor. Thor calls his hammer back from the sky, and this time it's towing his metal arm. So now he's got his metal arm back. It's the destroyer arm. The first part of the fight, he only had one arm, and so now he's like, okay, he's kind of powering up a little bit. So in Thor: God of Thunder issue 21, Thor is going to screw up Galactus's hand, which is a little bit of foreshadowing to Donny Cates, Galactus even says, then let us name you the god of broken fingers while I am still the devourer of worlds. So he's basically like, it's a hand, who cares? Like, I'm still the biggest fish out here. So Thor hits Galactus in the stomach, and that makes Galactus throw up.
So good.
He vomits the molten energies of 1,000 worlds. Which, if you think about that, it took a creator this long to have Galactus puke. I mean, it's right there. Like he's throwing up energies of 1,000 worlds.
It honestly, I don't think any Thor writer before Jason was this metal. Like, Jason and Donny have their different versions of like a metal take on Thor. And so Galactus vomiting up the molten energies of 1,000 worlds, that's right out of like a freaking like metal song. Yeah. So perfectly cast here with Jason's take.
I think that's part of Jason Aaron's appeal for me, is that he has the balls to give us what we didn't even know we wanted. And then afterwards, it feels so obvious. It's like, well, of course that happened. Like it feels so obvious, but it's because it's so satisfying. It feels like, oh, we should have seen this coming, but he's willing to take those swings and give us, some big moments like that. Galactus punches Thor through the Earth and into the moon, breaking the moon. Again, it's the far future. You can break whatever you want.
There's no people around to hurt.
Yeah. Galactus had started eating and starting to get powered up a little bit. The Girls of Thunder, Frigg, Elisiv, and Alti arrive, and they're on the goats. Frigg throws Stormbreaker into Galactus's face and calls it back, which rips out his jaw. So Frigg's getting a shot in there with Stormbreaker, which is pretty cool. Old man Thor is out in space. He was, shot into the moon that broke apart. And he actually doesn't fly directly back to Earth. He flies out into the black hole remnants of All Black. So bringing in this Gor's weapon back from this black hole remnant back from space. Back on Earth, Galactus has now killed the goats, Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder. You shouldn't have done that. That's going to make the Asgardians angry. Necro Thor arrives and flies through Galactus. And the girls are trying to kind of talk Thor out of killing him because they're like, well, he's this force of nature. Have you really thought through the repercussions? Like, what would happen if you killed Galactus? Thor takes out Galactus. At this point, it's unclear if he's dead or not. But as Thor bleeds onto the Earth is revitalized and starts to grow plants. So his godly blood, his powered up blood is one of the things that's sort of restarting life on Earth. Thor and his granddaughters make rivers and name them after Thor's friends. Oh, they named them after Thor's friends. That's so
Eric,
cute.
This all sounds like a happy ending.
It is. It's definitely nothing else definitely happens after this. Everything is fine.
Nothing terrible or ominous.
Except that the All Black was not destroyed when Thor attacked. A piece of it is now with Galactus. Whoops. That's not good.
Well, we've talked about this a couple times, like in different episodes where All Black, Gore, people just getting the word necro added before their name is kind of one of Jason's calling cards.
But guess what? It works every time. I don't get tired of it.
There's no repercussions for the Marvel Universe when it happens. It just when that cat gets let out of the bag, it just goes nicely back into the bag. I mean, we saw it earlier this summer. We saw when Thor faced off against Godzilla through the pen of Jason Aaron. Godzilla was connected to the All Black. Like, Jason loves to give people the All Black, and I would find that often it is the most metal version of that character when it happens. Yeah. We even see Thor 700 adds to this story of Galactus having a little bit of All Black as well. Absolutely. It's sort of tucked away into this collected issue. So for the big 700th issue, there's a lot of little stories. Some of the stories even 1 page long. I think there's like a 1 page long story about Throg in there, but it's a good anthology.
Yeah, but it's a lot of creators coming together, and it's a perfect chance to just give this little epilogue to the story. So Black Galactus, the Butcher of Worlds, has been eating more planets, including some of Ego's grandchildren. So Ego's not too happy about that. Remember, Ego and Galactus are at odds ever since the 60s. They go way back. And so Ego and Galactus have their final confrontation, and Ego ends up getting necrofied. And so Ego, the Necro World, eats Galactus.
Ego, the Necro World.
The Necro World. He's a whole world of Necro.
So Jason definitely puts his stamp on that. He puts his very distinct Jason Aaron stamp on this Thor versus Galactus battle. And I love how now that we get to more modern writers that we've read a little more from, we can see where they really put their stamp on it. Donny may do the best though. I love me some Jason Aaron, Eric. I feel like I don't have to prove that anymore on this podcast, but this was the best part of Donny's run.
Absolutely.
The conflict between Thor and Galactus that Donny sets really was a pretty high bar for him to set for himself right out the gate. But would you mind giving us kind of an overview of that conflict? Then we can pick that apart as we come towards the finish line.
Yeah, so this is the electrifying start to the Donny Cates run in 2020. Galactus crash landing onto Asgard while Thor is giving a speech is burned into my head. That was one of the page turn reveals.
Boom.
Double wide Nic Klein art spread that I have a vivid memory of, like, where I was sitting in my house when I read that and just being like, is this what comics is? Like, this is amazing.
Nic Klein was like, yes, Eric. Yes. It is.
This is what it can be if you have a talented team. Galactus is missing an arm to just sort of show that, like, he's been through some shit. Like, something's not right with Galactus. Galactus warns that the Star Plague is coming, the Great Black Winter. And any big villain has a bunch of different names for it, right? The Rot Blizzard, all the different things.
Yeah.
All of Galactus's past heralds assemble, even Pastor Mike.
He's Pastor Mike.
Silver Surfer says that he knows of 5 worlds that could give Galactus immense power so that he could take on the Black Winter, because the Black Winter is this bigger threat, even bigger and badder than Galactus. So it must be real bad. And the Black Winter has showed Galactus that his one true death will come in the form of Thor. But he's not there to kill Thor. He's there to get Thor's help to take on the Black Winter. So he powers up Thor with the I'm blanking.
Power Cosmic.
The Power Cosmic to become the Herald of Thunder, and he gets his new look that's on the cover, which had like 6 printings or something ridiculous.
I mean, it was stupid how many times that book was reprinted.
Galactus and Thor are sort of unlikely allies. Like, they're not exactly on the same page here. They don't just want to go and destroy these planets. Thor wants to get the people off the planet, the sentient life off the planet first. Galactus is like, I just need to feed, bro. Like, it doesn't matter to me, but knock yourself out. If you want to try and save the people, you can do that, I guess. Thor is like messing up Galactus's hand and knee, and he's just taking like pot shots at him. He's striking him with lightning. He's just like, remember, put you in your place. You're not that powerful. But we see that Galactus then is under fire from Scuttlebutt because Beta Ray Bill shows up, and Bill's like, yo, Thor, like, I thought you were being mind controlled. Are you helping this dude?
Yeah.
Like, you're helping him out? It looks like Thor has chosen to be on the same side as Galactus, which he kind of is working for him, but he's still retaining a lot of autonomy at the same time.
Yeah. No, that actually is one of the best parts of this story is Beta's like his mindset. Like, sometimes Bill is actually the best Thor character, like, because he's not a god. He's not the All-Father. He's not this whatever. He's just like, this isn't right. And why are you doing what's wrong? And I love that Bill kind of maintains that purity of character in this moment when Thor is like beyond souped up. Like, this is Odin Force, Power Cosmic, and then his base power. Like, his base power is already stupid. But we're just power stacking at this point.
But that's a really good observation. Yeah, it's a great character moment for Bill because we see that he is, even in the face of, these Galactus and this overpowered Thor, he's still standing up for what he thinks is right, and he has a much clearer moral compass of, like, I know right from wrong, and like, you're siding with Galactus, that ain't it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Thor and Bill get into a fight that's going to have some repercussions for the status quo moving forward for the next 5 years at least, because Thor breaks Stormbreaker against Mjolnir, and Stormbreaker shatters.
Yeah.
And so there goes Bill's weapon, right? This is going to launch into a Beta Ray Bill 5-part miniseries that is phenomenal. Chef's kiss.
It's so good.
But to actually have this moment have consequences is everything we want in comics, right?
Right.
Please don't just hit reset. Please have it matter and send this character on a different path for years to come. It was so cool.
Yeah, a moment where they actually changed the ongoing status quo.
Yeah.
For a character that fans universally love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't like Beta Ray Bill, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Like,
Galactus gets tired of the family squabbles, Thor strikes him with lightning again because, like, hey, like, know your place, man. They go to the next 3 worlds. They get the intelligent life off there. They're teleporting a lot of them back to Asgard to be just like, hey, you can go to Asgard for now. We just got to evacuate this planet. They end up on the final planet called Cryo. And the inhabitants are like, hey, you know, we're not going to leave the planet. We're going to help you win. Like, we're going to take on the Black Winter. And they're like, no. You don't understand. That's not how this is going to work.
It's not a fight you can win. It's actually not even a fight.
And actually, the fight started 10 minutes ago because Galactus is like, time's up and the Black Winter is here. So we don't have time. I'm eating your planet right now. The Black Winter is upon them. And this is when we get the reveal of like the face of it, that sort of like nebulous, but with like a skull with 3 eyes. Really, really cool look. That we're going to see other creators do later on, because the Black Winter is such a cool idea. It has not gone away. It's coming back and around. Yeah.
And it's canonically now, it is the thing that ended Galactus's universe.
Yeah.
So it like, that's until then we kind of like, oh, his universe ended. But that question had never been answered. Well, how and who did it? Mm-hmm. No, which is where I think Donny, like we were saying earlier, it's where Donny puts his stamp on Galactus's origin story by answering a question that hadn't previously been answered, or it's such a good retcon that we don't actually care about the answer that had previously. It's like, oh, it blew up. Who cares?
Like, who cares? This is better. Cool, we like this better. We're gonna do that.
The Star Plague. Like, that's so much more badass.
The Black Winter takes the form of a Dark Thor, which is what the action figure then is, and we have a really cool variant cover tool with Dark Thor on it. So, but that's the Black Winter sort of just mirroring, taking on that form. And let's see, Thor drains power from Galactus and uses Galactus as a bomb to really kind of eviscerate the Black Winter. So we're not teaming up with Galactus. We're using his potential energy to nuke the Black Winter.
Right. I love that. The story only momentarily is a Thor versus Galactus story. It really is a Thor versus the Black Winter story.
Yeah.
And Galactus is he's the means to the end of not defeating the Black Winter, but getting the Black Winter to, like, you know, go away. Go away for a while.
Well, like, same to how Galactus used to just go away, right? It's like you don't actually kill it.
No,
but you've stopped it for now.
Yeah, you set it aside for a while, or you're not right in its crosshairs. But this story started off Donny's run so, just like you said, chef's kiss, perfect.
Yeah.
And the stories that followed it, like, a lot of them were good, but like nothing was going to reach this height. Like, it's just like, it may be one of the best unanswered questions in Thor. Like, if Donny had gotten to finish his run, what would it have been? One of those, like, that's the what if issue I want, actually, Eric. That's what if Donny Cates had written the end of his Thor run. So, Eric, I know we've covered a few different runs here in varying degrees of detail. Just as we wrap up, an overall kind of thought on Thor versus Galactus, this history of these two big god entities clashing through time. I'm sure we haven't seen them face off for the last time. I'm sure we'll get that again. Kind of like, you know, Thor and the Hulk. They've got to fight again. You know, the wheel, as we've learned, continues to turn. So we must have this again. But what were your overall takeaways?
Well, something that I think the last two creators do really well is that one of the solutions to Galactus's power level and whoever you want to have him face is you can have him be at varying levels of starved or satisfied, right? Because he powers up as he eats. And if he doesn't eat for a while, he's going to depower. So that's one, I think, really elegant solution to the, like, why does his power level seem to be so different all the time? Well, that explains it pretty neatly. Right. And then it also lets you have characters actually land a punch versus like wouldn't stand a chance. So I think that because Galactus is at his best when he is still this looming, sort of, lumbering, emotionless force of nature. He's not motivated by taking over. It's not a power grab. He just does what he does. He's like, he's a whale shark out in the water, just eating entire schools of krill. Like, it's nothing against you. Like, I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah, it's like, whenever you're out in your yard or you're going on a walk on a sidewalk and you step on an anthill, you may not have even noticed.
Or if you're eating ants because you need sustenance, you don't talk to the ants about how they feel.
And you're saying that as a fitness professional, you're eating ants.
Right. Protein source.
No guilt. Man, Eric, I thoroughly loved this conversation, us breaking down this like Thor versus Galactus. Maybe there's other iterations of this we can do later on down the road, Thor versus, or Thor and a specific history of him with another character. But I really, really loved this episode. I love that we got to rehash it and do it again now that we've both seen Fantastic Four First Steps. And I just want to ask you one more question before we get out of here. MCU Thor versus MCU Galactus. I know Faz is going to be furious that I'm asking you this question without him here, but we'll probably do a whole episode about it. Does MCU Thor beat MCU Galactus?
I would say it depends if in the MCU they're going to commit to actually making him All-Father or not.
Right?
Because we have not seen very much of the Odin Force or now the Thor Force in MCU Thor, even though we know he's entitled to it because of Odin's death. So if he taps into that or learns how to use that, he could definitely do more than just land a punch on Galactus. But as long as he is still just like Thor, I think Galactus is still in another tier. I mean, unless Galactus is just so famished that he can't stand it. And I think that Thor has a long way to go. I think he's got the potential because hopefully we're going to see whole new arcs of growth. Yeah, and I would love to see him get some Odin Force and to wrestle with that. He might never be able to go back to Earth again and like just be palling around with like Hawkeye. I mean, if you're got the Odin Force, but like, there's a lot of territory to explore, and there's a lot that we know happens in the comics that we haven't seen any of in the MCU yet.
Well, another question for another day. Hey, if you have a thought, you're listening right now, and you have a thought of like, could Chris Hemsworth's Thor take on this new this phrase I was planning not to use, Eric, but I can't not. I'm already down the hill. This comic accurate Galactus. I mean, don't get me wrong, he beats the shit out of the Cloud from Rise of Silver Surfer. But that might be an interesting thing to get listeners' thoughts on. So everybody, thank you for checking out this episode. If you want to check out more, there are links in the episode description for Patreon, for Discord, for Instagram. We would love to interact with you on any of those platforms in those ways. If you want to leave a rating and a review, that would be fantastic for the show. Haven't gotten a review in a hot minute, but we keep pumping out all these great Thor episodes and yes, Fantastic Four episodes. We know we had a little bit of an identity crisis in the summer because we enjoyed Superman and Fantastic Four so much. But we've got new Thor #1 coming out. So be ready for that. We have a special guest coming up for our first kind of interview for the first issue, but then we'll do like a proper breakdown. And don't worry, we've got a lot planned for this new run of Mortal Thor. Get that right. Get the I-M off of the beginning of the word. Everybody, thank you so much for checking this out. No matter where you are, no matter what entities all over the cosmos you find yourself interacting with, whether you feel like you can take them head on and you want to like throw down with a guy as big as Galactus, or you feel insignificant in the overall, kind of swirling cosmos, or hey, you're just like, yeah, the Black Winter, that might as well happen. No matter what, just remember to do one thing, and that is to stay worthy.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Bum, 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 bum. Ba-da-da-da-dum, bum.